How's it going out there, YouTubers? Cyberneck Shark here with another new movie review for you. So let's get right into the review and see what's about. Last night, I had the chance of watching the awesome, amazing 2017 adaptation, live-action adaptation of Beauty and the Beast. Now, this film was directed by Mr. Bill Condon. Now, Bill Condon has directed a few other musical movies. A couple of them that were very, considered huge success were such movies as Dreamgirls, starring Eddie Murphy and Jennifer Hudson, which Jennifer Hudson won the Academy for. He also directed another awesome movie starring Brendan Fraser and Sir Ian McKellen, and that is Gods and Monsters, which was actually a awesome film about the life of the director of the original Frankenstein film. It was actually really good, and Bill Condon actually won an Academy for that film as well. So, I mean, he has actually brought a lot of Oscar-nominated worthy type of products to the film industry. So it was quite interesting that he was actually the one that got slated to be the director for this film. Now, going into this film, I was had very high hopes for this film, because I thought the Jungle Book live adaptation was amazing last year, and I thought they did a decent job with the Cinderella from a couple of years ago as well. So I went in with this with high hopes, especially because I love the original cartoon movie so much, and the storyline, and just all the music in it was so amazing. And so going into this, I was, had very high hopes. And so after watching it, though, I was really actually let down. I thought it was not very well done, and I can't believe all the high praise it got. I really felt it was unnecessary to have all those added kind of extra songs in the film, especially when the originals were so amazing and made the movie whole. I also feel that, the certain people that they cast weren't as good as they could have been, especially bringing in Emma Watson as Belle. With her British accent, it was so different than hearing the original Belle's voice, and I was not a big fan of that. I didn't think her voice was anything that spectacular, and other than that, though, I think she's a great actress, but at the same time, I didn't think she was really Belle. I didn't feel it. I didn't feel her singing. But everyone else, I thought, did an amazing job at singing in it. But other than that, I thought the movie was okay in a whole. Now, this movie has a great cast, too, to start out with. Emma Watson is in this film as Belle. Now, Emma Watson, we all recognize from the awesome, Wizardry Giant series, Mr. Harry Potter series, as Miss Hermione Granger. We also know her from an awesome other movie that stars the awesome Ezra Miller, and that is The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which was a really amazing film, and an interesting book, too, as well. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Worth the watch. I was definitely blown away by that film. I thought it was very good. Everyone involved was really good. Even Logan Lerman was really good in it. But Emma Watson as Belle was kind of awkward. Like I said, with her voice, because she's British, her singing voice, you have that, kind of high-pitched kind of voice along with the British accent, and I didn't feel that was Belle. It really made me kind of upset that she was singing the songs, because the songs were pretty much the same as in the original Disney adaptation, but with a little bit of, a newer flair put to it, because, it's, been so many years, 25 plus years since the original one came out, and the director put his own flair on it. But at the same time, though, that same song with her voice, I just didn't feel it. I didn't think it was as good. I didn't think it was like the original was, and I was really disappointed by that. Other than that, though, her role in the film was decent. I found her a little kind of quirky at it too. I didn't care too much for her acting in the film, because I think everything else I've seen her in, I think she's really good as Hermione and Perks of Being a Wallflower. Any other movie that she's been in, I feel she's done really well. But this one, I just felt like it was very, robotic and kind of weird. It was strange. And I didn't feel she was really herself in it. And so I didn't think she was really casted well for the role. We also have in the film another awesome actor, Mr. Dan Stevens. Now, Dan Stevens we all recognize from such films, or even TV shows, as The Legion show that was on FX that actually got renewed for a second season. He plays one of the main characters in that Marvel Universe series. But he also is in a couple other great movies, such as the third Night at the Museum film, Night at the Museum, The Secret of the Tomb. He actually plays Sir Lancelot in the film, and I totally did not realize that was him. And when I found that out, I was like, holy crap, he was hilarious in that film. So, I mean, Dan Stevens is a good actor, I think. He does a really good job, I think. And he does, acting very well. And his singing voice isn't too bad. He did bring a good presence to the Beast in the film. I mean, his voice, there was a couple times that I feel he sounded like Robbie from the original one. And even, like, some of the scenes that were in the classic cartoon, he did very well, too, I thought. The whole look of the Beast, though, in this one, I thought it was very odd looking. I didn't care too much for it. I didn't think it was really, it wasn't really similar to the original cartoon. And also, because, CGI work and they wanted to make it probably look more realistic, that took away from the entertainment value, I think. I think they should have tried to focus to make him look more like he was in the cartoon. And I was kind of disappointed in that, too. But Dan Stevens did a pretty good job in the film. I thought he was really, really good at it. And he did an amazing job in the film. He was actually one of the better actors, I think, that was in the film. Even his version when he's the human character, he wasn't as, I don't think as handsome or as, buff as the one in the original cartoon. But still, he was a decent choice. We also have in the film the awesome, the amazing Ewan McGregor. Now, Ewan McGregor, I love this guy. I think he's amazing in anything he ever does. And I just think he's a cool guy and just fun to watch. And his accent, his acting ability, I just think it's all really well-rounded. And he's done so many great movies over the years. Of course, we all recognize the very first trilogy of the Star Wars films, including Episode 1 as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, that really kind of brought him to the light of acting besides Trainspotting, but I really feel that him being Obi-Wan is really what made him a star. And he was awesome as Obi-Wan, and the fact that they want to actually make like a solo Obi-Wan film, and possibly him playing it, would be awesome. He also was in another great film with the gorgeous, beautiful Miss Scarlett Johansson, The Island, directed by Michael Bay. Now, that movie, I think, is really well done. I think Michael Bay is an amazing director. I hate that he keeps getting such bad slack from the critics, because I think The Island was an amazing film. It got really crappy reviews. It was considered a flop, but I feel that it was a really amazing film. Great writing in that film, and Ewan was just amazing in it. Playing two different kind of characters in the film, along with acting along Scarlett Johansson, I thought it was just a well-rounded film. Really good film. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. But Mr. Ewan McGregor as Lumiere in the film was decent. I really enjoyed him. Even though he himself thought his voice wasn't that great, I think he did a good job. I really do. I think even his singing voice was really well done for what he was working with, because he really didn't have Jerry Orbach's voice, but still he did a good job of trying to be French. And I thought he did a really good job. Now, the look of Lumiere in the film, I didn't care too much for. I thought it should have been a little bit more cartoony like the original cartoon. Now, throughout this whole film, I know they were trying to make it look more realistic looking if something got turned into an inanimate object. But at the same time, make it look cool. Make it look awesome. Bring a little bit of flair from the original film into it. Because I feel that that's what made the original movie, so good. And the fact that, they got Ewan McGregor to play the character, that was amazing. And I was very, very happy about that. Because he just did an amazing job. Just an amazing actor all around. We also have in the film, and I didn't know that he did a voice in this film or had a short role, Mr. Sir Ian McKellen. Woo! I was blown away, because I noticed the voice and I was like, oh, that sounds so much like Sir Ian McKellen. I'm like, that's got to be him. And so when he turned into human and it was him, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was him. I was right. I was like so in awe. I was like, that's so awesome. But Sir Mr. Ian McKellen plays Cogsworth in the film, and I actually thought the look of Cogsworth was really awesome, really amazing. And that was one of the better, I think, one of the better characters they created for the film. And Sir Ian McKellen, we all know as the awesome Mr. Magneto from the original X-Men series or original X-Men film. We also know him as the awesome Gandalf from the amazing, great trilogies, The Lord of the Rings, as Mr. Gandalf, Gandalf the Grey and Gandalf the White. But Ian McKellen's an amazing actor, just all around wonderful, so hilarious, always a pleasure to see in interviews, but he was so good as Cogsworth. It wasn't a huge role, but at the same time, the few bit parts that he had and doing certain scenes were just so funny and so fun, and he clashed so well with Ewan McGregor's Lumiere, and just, I thought it was very well done. That was a wonderful part of the film. I thought it was really well done. Really enjoyed it. Thought it was really good. Definitely worth a watch just for those two guys. Really, really was. Next up, we have the awesome, the amazing and talented Miss Emma Thompson. Now, Emma Thompson, we all know from such awesome films as Stranger Than Fiction with Will Ferrell. We also know her from an awesome Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito movie from 1994, Junior as well. And Emma Thompson's singing voice was amazing in this film. She played actually Mrs. Potts, and I thought that was a really good choice. Compared to Angela Lansbury, though, I mean, I still think she did an amazing job. I mean, Angela Lansbury is Mrs. Potts to me. But at the same time, I thought Emma Thompson showed her justice, showed her the love, and really brought a wonderful, amazing performance to that character. And I thought even the look of Mrs. Potts was very interesting. It was definitely better than I thought it was going to be, and I also thought that it was really just kind of fun and kind of gave the pot an interesting look. Versus the one in the cartoon, I still think the cartoon one is better looking, but still fun and all. But Emma Thompson was really was really good in it, really amazing. She always does well. I always enjoy her in films. I think she's funny. She was awesome in the Harry Potter film. She was just awesome in everything I've seen her in. But she was a wonderful pleasure to see in the film too. The awesome, amazing Mr. Buff, Mr. Luke Evans. Now, Luke Evans, we all know as the awesome Dracula and Dracula Untold, which was supposed to be a reboot to the Universal Monster series, which he did really good in. That's a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. But he also was in another awesome, great movie with John Cusack called The Raven. The Raven was a really good film, too, about Edgar Allan Poe. And Luke Evans plays a really cool character in the film, and he kind of plays like a policeman or investigator, and he's just really good in it, and I really enjoyed him, and so I thought he was wonderful as Gaston in this. Even his singing voice I was really impressed with, and it made me, at a couple points, made me think of the original Gaston's voice, and I thought he did an amazing job. There was a couple scenes where he was just absolutely hilarious, especially when he's looking in the mirror and like, yeah. Oh my gosh, it was so stinking funny. And him playing off of Josh Gad's character was a really fun too. Because it was just, they worked so well together, and I thought it was so stinking funny. But Luke, like I said, Luke Evans was awesome in this as Gaston. Played a really good bad guy. Played the part very well. And was a real joy to see in it too. So last but not least, people, we have the awesome Mr. Josh Gad in this film too. Oh yeah! I love Josh Gad. I think he's absolutely hilarious. Everything he's in, I think, is so funny. He was a great pleasure in the film. He was probably one of the best parts about it, too, along with Luke Evans. We also know Josh Gad from such awesome movies as Olaf from the great Disney movie Frozen. We also know him in the awesome Kevin Hart film that came out a couple of years ago called The Wedding Ringer, which was a really fun film. But Josh Gad's character and portrayal of Bafu was really fun and awesome. He did an amazing job, and it was just all around lots of fun. There's this one scene in the movie where basically it's at the end of the movie, and he's about to be like, he's like trying to fight off the inanimate objects that are people, and all of a sudden this piano comes and like falls on top of him, and like he's like ah and stuff like that, and the piano's like going, and then all of a sudden like just kind of drops on him, and it pans down and shows him, and he's like, "I'll stay here, sir." It was just so stinking funny. It just made me laugh so hard. I thought that was a great scene. And then pretty much any other scene that him and Luke Evans had kind of like a, talk or a like line together. It was just so funny because he brings such great comedy to his roles. So fun to see him in this too. Thought he was a great pick for Bafu, and I thought he did a really good job in the film. So like I said, all in all, I thought Beauty and the Beast was an okay rounded film. I give this one 5 golden movie boxes up. Something I would say, yeah, definitely check out for your own viewing pleasure. It's not as entertaining as I thought it was going to be. It was a letdown for me from the original film. But if you're not familiar with what Beauty and the Beast is about, basically what it's about is this girl named Belle basically gets stuck into freeing her father from this castle where this beast lives. And everyone that lives there and works there has been cursed and turned into inanimate objects. She gives her, basically, gives her life to help free her father. And basically, she comes to terms with having to live there, but falls in love with the beast. And basically is trying to help him break the curse. And that's what he's trying to do, too. The beast is trying to break his curse because he was awful to somebody they were just asking for a little help and he didn't give it to them. So, I mean, that's pretty much the premise of what Beauty and the Beast is about. It's an amazing story. The original is still the best. The original is still a giant 10 golden movie boxes up. This one, like I said, 5 golden movie boxes up. Definitely, I would say, check it out. Like I said before, it's definitely worth a watch. If I end up finding it for a really good deal, I might end up adding it to collection, but it's not something high on priority on my list to add to my collection. Definitely don't think it's any better. I think it's worse than the Jungle Book remake. I think still the Jungle Book remake is the best. I absolutely think this live-action adaptation is the best one that they've brought out so far. Jon Favreau kicked the butt out of it. But yeah, definitely there's a lot of flaws I feel in this film. Definitely not worth all the acclimates and all the honor this one's gotten. Definitely, though, it was enjoyable in certain parts, and the music wasn't decent. Was decent. The music definitely was interesting. Definitely decent, and some of the songs were a pleasure to hear again. So that's it for this review, guys. As always, thank you for watching. As always, like, subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, please, so that you don't miss an awesome video. As always, leave your comments down below and let me know what you'd like to see in future videos, or if you have an idea for a video you'd like to see. As always, keep your eyes out for any old or newer videos you might not have seen as well. And also, look down below in the awesome comments section. I have an awesome, if you're a big horror fan, if you're an awesome horror fan, if you love horror movies and you like them right to your door, check out that link below. It's about this awesome program called Horror Pack. And you get 4 awesome Blu-rays or DVDs with limited editions right to your door for a really awesome price. And if you're interested, leave me a comment down below and I'll send you the link for an awesome deal on your first month as well. And as always, see you in the next one.